And now we bring on Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat reporter, Charlie O'Connor. Oh, Charlie, that was not exactly what we were hoping for tonight for our diehards who joined us for the takeover. No, Charlie.
Okay.
Are the girls
whatever
yelling for Charlie?
Yeah, for whatever reason, I don't know why this happens, but sometimes it's just your very first question I can't hear. So I caught literally, and then after that, your sound is perfect the rest of the way. I caught none of that. So I will just give you my general feeling on the game,
Perfect.
which is they didn't show up to play in the first period, and that includes Sam Ersson as well. Like, the whole team played like crap. I thought the second period, they played pretty well. Good pushback, they make it a game again. And then they do all that work just to repeat the first period and the third period. And you're just kind of like, all right, why, why did you boost everyone's expectations by delivering a perfectly solid second period? Like, that's the way they had to play in order to hang with this Toronto team. They were forechecking well. They were attacking the blue paint. They were back-checking, pretty ferociously. That's the kind of game they need to play for 60 minutes. Instead, they played it for 20 minutes. And maybe against the San Jose Sharks, that's enough. Against the Toronto Maple Leafs, who aren't even, in my mind, one of the elite teams this year. They're a playoff team. Maybe they can win a round or two. I'm certainly not expecting them to win the cup. But you can't just play 20 minutes of a good game and expect to beat a good team in Toronto. And they just got a stark reminder of that tonight.
Yeah, they did. It was a beating. I don't even know if 6-2, I don't even know if that properly just demonstrates what happened on the ice for 40 of the 60 minutes tonight, Charlie. But you mentioned Sam Ersson is one of the guys who definitely didn't show up in the first period. Is this just what he is now? Just a high variance guy? He's a rookie. It's his first full year. What is going on with Sam Ersson where, man, if he doesn't have it on the first shot of the game, he don't have it, and they're screwed?
I just think this is part of his development, and because he showed against the Sharks that he can, and he's shown this multiple times this year, that he is fully capable of shaking off bad games and responding with good ones, that he can do that he is not a guy who necessarily turns one bad game into 4 or 5 straight bad games. And that's good. That's a great quality for a goalie to have. The next step in his development is making it so giving up 1 not great goal doesn't turn into 4 not great goals. That's been his problem. That was his problem against Tampa, and that was his problem tonight, where it wasn't going his way and he just wasn't able to stabilize quick enough to keep the Flyers in the game. Look, it's not helping him that the defense is in shambles. It's not helping. So this isn't all Sam Ersson. It's no coincidence that they've given up 7 goals and 6 goals in 2 of their 4 games since trading Sean Walker. Nick Sealer's been hurt. They're using Ronnie Adder. They're using Mark Stahl functionally as the number 3 defenseman. So I don't want to be too hard on Ersson because he doesn't have a good blue line core in front of him, even close to a good blue line core in front of him. So it's not all him, but there is absolutely an element here of Ersson needs to get better at turning as a goalie, you're not going to have your best stuff every night. Maybe if you're Dominik Hasek, you usually have your best stuff. But the vast majority of goalies, they're not going to be great every night. I looked at the numbers. We talked about it on the show on Tuesday on the postgame. Connor Hellebuck averages 70% of his starts are good, 71, 72%. With Ersson, it's been 65, 66%. Not that far off. Even Connor Hellebuck, probably the best goalie in hockey, 30% of the time doesn't have his best stuff. The difference between Hellebuck and Ersson is that in those 30% of the games, Hellebuck can make them be just a mediocre start. It's not an awful start. With Ersson, it seems like if he doesn't have his best stuff, which he does have his best stuff a lot, shows that he has a talent, but if he doesn't have his best stuff, he allows games to get out of hand. And that's what he needs to work on. He needs to work on, 5-6 minutes into a game. If he's not quite feeling it, he just needs to find a way to hold down the fort. You're not always going to be great, but you can't be terrible. Tonight and against Tampa, he was terrible. And I don't think he was the only reason why they lost both those games. The team in front of him didn't play well either, but you still do need more from your goalie.
Do you think this could be an issue with the workload? They've been running him hard. He's basically playing every game that isn't a back-to-back. Now, he did get pulled after the first against Tampa, pulled after the first tonight, so maybe he can recharge a little bit. But you said you think it's part of his development. Is it learning the grind as well? Do you think he's tired, or is it just, hey man, this is goaltending?
Look, the thing is that this is the perfect topic for a talk show because we have no idea. Like, Sam Ersson was straight up asked that after the game, are you feeling worn down? And of course, he said, no, I feel great. But if he's worn down, he's not going to say he's worn down. Like, no one is ever going to be like, yeah, I'm feeling tired. So because of that, we as talking heads are able to speculate on, is he worn down? Is he just struggling? Is it a little bit of both? Look, he's getting a big workload, to be sure. That said, it's not like they're throwing him in back-to-back games. Obviously, he only played a little bit of the Tampa game. He only played like 10 minutes. Tonight, he only played one period. So it's not like I feel like they are, tossing an unmanageable workload onto him. But he's playing a lot of games. He's starting a lot of games. I think it's been like 19 of the last 22 he started. Like, he's playing a lot. He is the Flyers' number one goalie, without a doubt. And their number two, Felix Sandstrom, spent most of the year in the AHL. So his number two is basically a number three. It's a lot to put on a goalie, and it's also a lot to put on a goalie to give him that kind of workload for the first time in the midst of a playoff race, especially during a gauntlet like this when you're playing against good teams basically every night. It's tough. And I am not going to write off Sam Ersson if he struggles over these next couple weeks. This is a really tough spot for him to be in. That said, the Flyers are still in this position, and they don't really have much of a choice other than to hope to God that Sam Ersson can deliver good starts. So, I mean, for the Flyers' sake, I hope he figures it out. But I don't know. Is he tired? Maybe. Maybe he's worn down, but I can't know that for sure because he's never going to tell you. And goalies can struggle even when they're feeling 100% rested. Goalie's a weird position. So I don't know. And I'm not being flippant about that. Like, I just don't know. I don't think we're going to know until maybe the end of the season if he opens up and is like, yeah, I was a little bit worn down.
Yeah, we saw such good stuff out of him all year. And even when he's had bad starts, he's bounced back. Now, we saw that against the Sharks, but I'm just like, man, every other start can't be a shit show like it was tonight and it has these last couple weeks. I'm just hoping for him he's able to find a second wind or whatever. Charlie, we mentioned the guys playing in front of him. It's not like they did him any favors. And this blue line, like you mentioned, I mean, your 7 all year Mark Stahl is the 3. Eric Johnson, listen, he's been around forever. He's a good vet, but him and Stahl's ages combined are about 80. Like, they don't exactly.
You're not exaggerating, Miles.
Ronnie Attard is clearly not in the plans.
No.
Like,
I don't know if I would agree with that, but
he didn't play until now.
Yeah, I mean, I think they still like him, but you're right in that he's a rookie. Like, he's still Calder eligible. He's 25, I believe.
25, yeah.
Yeah, he's not one of their blue chippers, to be sure.
Like, Emil Andre made this team. Ronnie Attard didn't. They were drafted several years apart, is all I'm saying here. Like, he's the 8th or 9th on the depth chart. This is what they're dealing with now. Do we have any light at the end of the tunnel with these defense injuries? Have you heard anything other than, oh, yeah, we're going to reevaluate when we reevaluate?
Well, I do think that Nick Seeler will be back at some point. That said, he's still not skating with the team. I did hear between intermission because yesterday they did the team picture at Wells Fargo Center. I did hear that Seeler was on the ice for that. He had a skate on. He was still looking a little bit, limping, but he was able to get his foot in his skate, so that seems like a positive sign. Look, I would be very happy if he could come back at some point next week. Does that seem likely? If I had to bet, I would bet no, because we haven't really seen him skate at all. And usually, you're going to have to at least be on the ice for a few days in order to, get yourself back into a rhythm before you come back into a game. So the best case scenario would be if Seeler jumps back on the ice on Monday, because they play in Boston on Saturday. Seeler ain't coming back for that game. Sunday's the Carnival. Monday, they're back on the ice. If Seeler can get back on the ice on Monday, maybe there's a chance he can come back later in the week. If not, I think you're talking about the following week, which means another full week of tough games without Nick Seeler. As for Ristolainen and Drysdale, I mean, I think for them, it's like, can they get back by the end of the year? They ain't the cavalry coming to save the Flyers anytime soon. Neither of them have been skating. They're waiting for like the final update on their statuses. So don't expect either of those guys to come running through the door either. Sealer's the only guy who I'm confident will be back at some point, but it doesn't seem like his return's imminent.
Sounds great.
It's kind of like it's honestly, it's kind of like we all we need. Like, this is what you got to deal with. And I asked Brad Shaw basically, how much of this do you pin on the defense injuries? And he was like, look, he more or less said, I'm not saying we're in a great spot, but we're going to have to figure it out with the guys we have, which is fair. And he basically said, look, we can be better as a 5-man unit. And I think that was more or less saying to the forwards, look, this defense core obviously isn't as good as it was 3, 4, 6 weeks ago. We all know that. You've traded Walker. Sealer's hurt. Drysdale's hurt. Risso's been out for a while, but like, this is very clearly a downgrade. But as forwards, you need to pick up the slack. And they showed they could do it. Like, San Jose, whatever. San Jose stinks. Sure, whatever. That Florida game was a blueprint as to how the team has to play on the whole as a 5-man unit to make up for the fact that the defense core is underwhelming. And that was arguably an even more underwhelming decor because that was a decor with Adam Ginning in it rather than Eric Johnson. And like, I'm not saying Eric Johnson has a ton left in the tank, but I do, like, we're talking about a guy with nearly 1,000 NHL games played, and Adam Ginning, like, might not be an NHL caliber defenseman. So that was a worse defense, and they did a damn good job shutting down one of the best teams in the league. So it can be done. It's harder, but it can be done. You just need to play as a cohesive 5-man unit with the forwards back checking well enough to protect the defense. Against Tampa, and then against the Leafs tonight, they did the opposite of that.
I can't believe Eric Johnson doesn't have 1,000 games. He's at 972. That's insane.
Yeah, he's almost there. He's almost there.
He was drafted in 2006. That's insane to me. Anyway, Charlie, the forwards, like you said, I'm not the Sharks game. Way to go! You beat the Sharks. You did what you had to do. You needed the 2 points. That's all well and good, but like, what am I going to make conclusions out of beating the Sharks? You should. You're better than them. That Florida game, they were excellent. How come we've come on this post game 2 times out of the last 3 games recently and just been like, yeah, the boys didn't have it tonight? Like, is there something? What's wrong with the forward group? Because it's not like this is a depleted group. It's not like it's an especially young group. There's a lot of veterans on all 4 lines is veterans. Like, what's the matter with them? Why aren't they better right now?
I'm glad you asked that because sorry, Charlie. I wanted to talk about that because we've been talking about the defense and the goaltending, but like, there are guys on this team that should be scoring goals that aren't. Like, Couturier at one point, I think it was in the second period, had the puck on his stick with a wide open net and passed it for some reason. Like, a lot of guys are making just like stupid decisions that I don't really understand. And I'm not sure at what point we start to seriously worry. Like, we're worried about the goaltending, we're worried about the defense, but like, what's up with the forward core? It's very frustrating.
I just think there are a lot of guys that just aren't playing their best hockey. I mean, that's what it boils down to. I honestly don't think there are so many people on my mentions just screaming about Sean Couturier. I don't think he's been as bad as people seem to think he's been. Like, I still see more than flashes of the old Couturier. I think he's probably worn down. I think that's what's going on here with Couturier, is that they probably overplayed him in the first 2/3 of the year, and now he's wearing down because he didn't play for a year and a half. I really think it's that simple. But I still see flashes of Couturier at his best. I don't think he's cooked by any means. He's there. That said, he's not playing his best hockey. So there's one guy. Okay. Tippett seems like he's kind of coming back around, so that's good.
Yeah.
The Paling line tonight, for the first time in a while, was flat out awful. They were on the ice for 3 goals against. They were real bad. Brink is off and on. Lawton was real good for a while. Last couple of games, he's dipped. Frost had a great game against the Sharks, but he regressed again tonight. They just have a lot of guys that aren't playing their best hockey up front. And I think that's what's going on. It's just they've got guys in slumps, and they got key guys in slumps. And it's happening at a bad time because not only are they in a playoff race, they're also playing against a bunch of really good teams. I mean, the one positive I saw out of this game was that, okay, maybe Owen Tippett is starting to get hot again. Because now he has goals in his last 2 games. Maybe neither of the goals were like, holy shit, individual efforts. The one was on an amazing pass by Konechny. the game winner on Tuesday. This one, Morgan Frost misses the net and the puck bounces right to him. Like, neither of these goals are like, holy shit, man, Tippett's taking over. But maybe they start getting him to feel a little bit better about his game, and then he starts making those kind of plays because they're going to friggin' need him. Like, I am very high on Tyson Forrester's potential. If they are leaning on Tyson Forrester to be one of their best forwards over these next 6 games, they might win like one of them. So they need guys like Couturier and Tippett and Konechny, and Frost. They need those guys to be rolling, because if they're not rolling, they're going to keep losing.
Just keep rolling. That's what they say. Go ahead, Kelly.
I'm dying to know what's happening where Charlie is right now. Like, why are they cheering for you, Charles?
Well, there is a beer league game going on. Someone wearing a Shane Gostisbehere jersey just took a face-off, so that's where we're at.
Love that for them.
That's outstanding. Charlie, the one positive I'm going to say I took away from this is the power play scored again. That's a couple of games in a row where the power play hasn't been
fire,
horrible.
baby.
For them, this is like being 90%.
It is.
Like 2 games in a row, fucking
on fire.
Get the parade going. Is it fixed? Did they need 70 games to finally fix it? Is it fixed, Charlie?
No, the power play is not fixed. The power play is not going to get fixed. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I have liked Morgan Frost. They're using him a little bit more in the bumper, and he's looked pretty good there. I don't know if that's them unlocking something. Like, Frost does lead, and I've been critical of Morgan Frost's power play production over his NHL career. He actually leads the team in power play points this year. Now, granted, it's not a difficult thing to do given how few goals they score on the power play, but at least he's producing something. So I have no problem if they want to try to maybe run the power play through him a little bit more and see if that does anything to improve it. No, the power play is not fixed. They scored a couple goals. That's great. Like, the goal they scored tonight, Morgan Frost misses the net, the puck bounces off the end boards and goes right to Owen Tippett. Like, those are the kind of goals that eventually a blind squirrel is going to find the whatever. Like, it's going to happen.
The nut Charles.
Like, they're going to get some lucky bounces. But no, the power play is not fixed. It will probably go on another massive slump in the next couple games because it's a bad power play, and getting a few bounces does not make it a good power play.
Kimmo Timonen misses the net, and it comes out the other side for a wide open goal, and he's a genius. Morgan Frost does it, and we rip him for it.
I'm not ripping him for it. I'm just saying it's a bounce. You can't build a successful power play, a sustainably successful power play, on getting good bounces. You have to build it on making good plays. Exactly. Not with that attitude.
Do you have anything else, Kelly?
No.
All right.
Ready for Charlie's
without further ado, let's get to Charlie O'Connor's 3 stars of the game.
Do I really have to give out 3 stars on this game?
You can.
You could do 3 Pearl Jam songs as I requested, but 3 stars is probably what the people want.
Oh boy. Okay, I guess I will do 3 stars. I guess 3rd star I will go with Pontus Holmberg. Yeah, he scored a goal. He did things. So yeah, we'll go with Pontus Holmberg. 2nd star, I guess I will go with Tyler Bertuzzi. Strong game. Has that nice deflection goal to start things up. Gets an assist on the Lilligren goal. I thought he had a strong game. And the 1st star, I don't think he was dominant statistically in this game, but Austin Matthews changes the game when he's on the ice.
Yeah, he's so annoying.
He's Toronto's best player. He's one of the best players in the NHL, and the Flyers had no answer for him. You were just waiting for him to get his goal. And I would go so far as to say that there was a chance the Flyers could have come back in this game because they played a good second period. It's 3-1. It's difficult, but it's manageable. You score that first goal to kick off the 3rd period, suddenly maybe Toronto starts getting scared. Toronto blew a significant lead the last time these 2 teams played. Now, granted, they won in overtime, but they blew a lead. The Flyers came back and tied that game after being down a significant margin. They were down 3-1. Instead, Austin Matthews, 5 minutes into the 3rd period, just does Austin Matthews things. He lets loose a shot. Travis Sanheim, I don't know what the fuck he was doing on that play. That was. Did he think he was a left side defenseman again? Was that what happened on that play? That was wild. But Austin Matthews still has to be the guy with the fantastic shot who beats the goalie clean, and he did because he's Austin Matthews. And for that reason, he's my 1st star. He was great as usual.
All right, Charlie. I think that's all we got for you tonight, because this was, for a game with 8 goals, it feels like not that much happened. Like it was just kind of the Flyers sucked at the end. So we'll talk to you. When are we back for Saturday postgame, Charlie? We will see you then. Oh, and there's like a pregame and a watch along, all sorts of stuff going on for Saturday. So make sure.
And one thing before I go, wanted to thank everybody. I'm sure you guys already did it, but wanted to thank everybody for coming out to the takeover at the Wells Fargo Center in the assembly room. Got to meet a lot of people. Just like actually a few like regular faces. Eric was out there. Met with Spencer and Paul, Owen, Brendan, who's in the Discord. He's a diehard. It was cool. We had a good crowd, and wanted to thank everybody for coming out. It was good to see everybody before the game, in between periods, and I don't know if we'll be doing another one of these this season, but we'll probably be doing more in the future, and it's a good time, so would highly recommend people come out the next time we do a takeover at the Wells Fargo Center. So thanks again for everyone who bought tickets and came out to hang with us.
Thank you for joining us, Charlie. Always classy. I don't remember if I thanked anyone or not, so I'm glad you stepped up there, because everyone always thinks I'm rude and I'm just forgetful. We will talk to you on Saturday, my friend.
All right. Bye, gang.
We all silly like the mayor.